All right, guys. Hello there. Thanks for joining in a Top Producer webinar today. This is your host, Spencer, with Top Producer's customer success team. And today we're going to be going over how to get started with your Top Producer X CRM. So whether you're a brand new user to Top Producer CRM altogether, or maybe you've been with us for years, but you've been using Top Producer 8i Classic previously, we're going to show you how to get started with the newest iteration of our CRM, our modern Top Producer X, with more powerful integrations, a lot easier to use in general, and a nice clean aesthetic, making it easy to be productive in your CRM without hunting around for what you're looking for. So just testing out a new setup here. I did just move within the last few days upstairs to the main suite in the house I'm in. So please be patient if you notice any oddities, especially in the lighting. I just need to work on that a little bit more for next time. Just to cover some administrative items here. Like I said, this is getting started with Top Producer X, hosted by myself, Spencer. And I'm also joined in the live chat here today by my friend and colleague, Marvin LaRosa. So Marvin's on our research team. He's also going to be joining in, chatting with you guys, answering questions, and providing some really useful links from our support page to go along with whatever that we're talking about at the moment. So just give me 1 second here while I touch things up. All right, so moving right along here. The show is definitely interactive, so we would love to hear from you guys. All you have to do is reach out in the live chat on either YouTube or Zoom, whichever platform you're on, perfectly okay. Instructions there for both. You can see here for Zoom, you just click the chat button at the bottom. For YouTube, you just have to make sure you're logged in with a Google account. And then you just comment on the right side there in the live chat. So anything you want to share, feel free to let us know where you're coming from today, where you do real estate at, how long you've been with Top Producer for, details like that. Anything else you want to share, please feel free to chime in and let us know. So just want to point out, maybe after the show, you realize that you would really benefit from some one-on-one help. Well, not a problem. Our customer care team is always here if you need us. You just reach out via either live chat, which is in the bottom right-hand corner of your Top Producer CRM or any Top Producer product for that matter. You can also call in at 1-800-830-8300. And both of those options are available Monday to Friday from 7:30 a.m. till 4 p.m. in Pacific Standard Time. Alternatively, you can also reach out via email to our help desk at support@topproducer.com. Just please allow, in some cases, up to 1 or 2 business days for a response if you reach out via email, though in most cases it is much faster than that. So this is the game plan for today. We're going to be going over how to configure your Top Producer X CRM settings, how to make sure that you get the most out of it, customize it to yourself so that it is ready for prime time, ready for business. After that, we'll be going over a couple different ways to build your contact database in Top Producer X. Whether you have a spreadsheet that you'd like to import from a different platform, different CRM, maybe your MLS, or maybe even something that you've just put together from scratch. And then we also have a contact sync feature, which would allow you to link up an email account and pull in contacts from there automatically. So you can use one or the other, or you can use a combination of both to really get your database off to a great start. After that, we'll dive into the follow-up coach, which is one of the biggest features in the CRM. It's going to allow you to stay on track with your database, keep up to date with them, make sure no one falls through the cracks. And when you're first getting started, it's a great way to just jump on your contacts. If it doesn't matter to you where you start and you just need to tackle your sphere of influence at some point, the follow-up coach is a great way to get started. So I'll show you how to do that. And then finally, we'll finish off with just, reiterate how to contact us, how to make sure that you have access to all of our resources going forward, because we have definitely put a lot of work over the past, especially year and a half, to really amp up those resources for you guys, to make sure that there's videos and resource articles and things covering a variety of different subjects in Top Producer X. So in the chat here, in the YouTube chat, Ali was saying, "Hi Spencer Marvin, I will not be attending today, but want to wish you a very happy Tuesday. See you on Thursday." Awesome, Ali. Thanks for joining in for a sec, just to say that. So for anyone that doesn't know, Ali is a long-term Top Producer user. She is a transaction coordinator, and she uses Top Producer X's transaction management features every single day, and has given us lots of great feedback on how we can improve that feature. But in the meantime, she uses it every single day and greatly benefits from it. because it is quite easy to use. So always good to hear from Ali. So moving right along to the first point then. So this is create a solid foundation for success with TPX by learning about vital settings first. So what I mean by that is there are some settings in TPX that need to be customized in order to allow you to make the most of your CRM. So everything from integrating your existing business email to connecting your MLS board up there to pull in property information. There's a couple things you're going to want to go over to make sure, like I said, that it is ready for usage by you. It is your CRM subscription. Now you just have to customize it because out of the box, it's just a blank slate. So we're going to go over that first. And yeah. So for any brand new users, I just want to point out before we begin, for any brand new users to Top Producer X, maybe you just signed up in the past few days. I'm just going to quickly show you what that email looks like that you should receive, containing your welcome email, containing your login credentials and everything. So let me just show you what this looks like here. So if you're a brand new user, you should have received an email that looks a lot like this. It says it's coming from sales. So sales@move.com. It'll be titled Welcome to Better Client Relationships with Top Producer CRM. So if you haven't yet logged into Top Producer and you're not sure how, please locate this email. If you cannot find it, please feel free to contact our customer care team and we can definitely help you with that. But if you have seen this email, scroll down, you'll see your username and password right here. And then from there, you can just click on any of these Get Started buttons. And that's going to log you right into Top Producer, or get you into the login page, I should say, for Top Producer X. So then you'll be at the login screen, which looks like this. So assuming you are logging in for the first time, you click Sign In. And this is actually going to bring you into a first-time setup. So right off the bat, you will be met with the subscriber agreement. So if you're not exactly sure what the terms of that agreement are, you should contact your account executive, your sales rep at Top Producer. They'd be more than happy to make sure that those terms are clear and that there's an understanding there about how that term works and how that agreement works. So after you accept that, you'll be moving on to the My Information page or first time setup. On that My Information page, it will look a lot like this. Just one second here. So it'll look a lot like this screen right here. So this is your CRM's internal profile. And now I just want to stress the fact that it is not super vital to fill all of this out right away. You can definitely come back here anytime. As you see, this is an existing account and I've actually just opened up the settings, not a problem. So a couple recommendations though. I would recommend scrolling down to the phone number section and entering your mobile phone number, because that will be used for some email templates and such. Check the email section. Make sure that the agent email is your best email address to use to recover your account and reset your password if you need to. Please note, company, this isn't company name, this is company email. As you can see, it's not mandatory. You do not need to fill it out if you don't want to. Only the ones with the red asterisk, the red star, are mandatory. I would say just worry about those ones for now. You can always come back later and customize this more. Social media links, all this you can do later. And then marketing color theme. This is for Market Snapshot. So for our Market Snapshot users, this profile is a little bit more vital to fill out sooner than later. That being said, you can still come back here after your initial setup. That's not a problem. And then make sure that your time zone is correct at the bottom here. And then just go ahead and save my info. So then on the next page, if you're a brand new user, you'll be prompted to either add or import contacts. It'll say, welcome to Top Producer X, a great CRM, starts with your contacts or something like that. So what I recommend here is if you don't have your CSV ready for import, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that later anyway. So what I recommend is to get past that step, simply click on add contact. And then from there, just add anyone. You could add a lead that you're working on. You could add a client that you're working with currently. You could add a past client. Failing that, feel free to add yourself. Feel free to add a friend or colleague or family member. Just anyone to get the ball rolling here. Enter their name, email address, phone number, and that should be good enough for now. And then that'll let you access the CRM. If you guys have any questions along the way, please do not hesitate to reach out. We'd be more than happy to speak with you guys and chat with you on here. And yeah, like I said, it is an interactive show, so I'd be happy to hear from you guys. Marv and I are very willing to answer any questions you guys might have along the way. But that being said, for now, what we're actually going to do is go to because you'll be on the contacts page after adding a contact. Let's actually go down to the settings now in the bottom left corner. So settings button. If you don't see the settings button, you may need to adjust the zoom settings in your web browser. So if you're using Google Chrome, for example, simply click the 3 vertical dot button in the top right here. And then you might need to check your zoom setting right here to make sure it's 100% or maybe even 90%. Just depends on the size of your screen. If you're on a smaller laptop, it might get a little bit scrunched. You might need to adjust your zoom setting if you don't see that settings button in the bottom left. But anyway, we're going to click on settings, and let's jump into our first vital setting here, which I consider to be vital: email integration. So this should be the 6th option down in the settings here. And why is this one important? Well, you have your existing business email that you're already using every single day to contact your leads, your clients, etc., stay in touch with people related to your real estate business. Why not integrate that into your Top Producer X so that you can send and receive emails right through the CRM? No more hunting through your inbox for email conversations with your clients. You can view them all right in their contact records. And get this, you can even see if they have opened your emails or not. So if you've emailed that new lead and you're wondering why they're not getting back to you, check the email history. Maybe they haven't even opened your email, and that's a good indication that you might need to switch your approach with that person. So just a couple examples there, but to integrate your email, what you're going to want to do is fill in your email address here and click authorize. Now we support a bunch of different IMAP compatible emails, so everything from Google to Office 365, Yahoo, etc. Each of them has slightly different steps and settings. So I would say just go ahead and try your email. See what pops up. If you're not sure how to proceed, you can always reach out to our customer care team. We can assist you with that. Remember, you can use the live chat support in the bottom right corner, get help now. This will instantly connect you with, well, right now, Zach, it looks like. And so Zach's one of our senior technicians. He'd be more than happy to assist you. And you can, of course, call into customer care at the 1-800 number that I've got there in the top left area. Yeah, so Gmail, this will be very easy. Office 365, usually fairly easy. Now, just keep in mind that if you're using a brokerage provided email, this might require some additional server settings to configure, in which case you might need to reach out to your manager, your system administrator, IT department, that kind of thing, to grab those settings, verify those settings for use in Top Producer X, such as host name, port numbers, and things like that. And then there are some email services such as Yahoo that do require a 2-factor authentication. So like an app password. Excuse me, it's really warm in here because now that I moved upstairs, so it's heat rises, right? So it's definitely warm up here, and I've got a bunch of windows open, so I'm gonna have to get a fan soon. But yeah, so something like Yahoo does require an app password. You have to log into your Yahoo account, and from there you can create a one-time use app password just for signing into Top Producer with. It allows you to sign into a third-party program such as Top Producer. iCloud is like that as well, for example. So if you're not sure what your specific email provider needs, you can feel free to just Google that or look it up on the internet. And usually there's an article from your email provider, talking about that kind of thing. So we're going to move on to the next step now. And next up is email signature. So after you have integrated an email service, you can then add a signature to it. So it'll say has signature no, and you just go ahead and click on that line there, and you'll be given an editor box in which you can work on your signature. So you can create it from scratch. You can copy and paste an existing signature here. And just want to point out, if you run into any issues with images, like copy and pasting them, I do recommend actually using the insert image button instead to manually upload them from your computer and put them in here. That seems to work better sometimes. But yeah, once again, any issues with email signatures, feel free to reach out to our customer care team. We can help you with that. So moving down to lead providers. Lead providers is what you will want to use if you're paying for online leads, if you have a website with a contact form, if you have any sort of online lead generation at all, you'll likely want to point this towards your top producer CRM using the myleads.io address. So this looks a lot like an email address, but it's not a traditional email. It doesn't have an inbox or something like that. It's basically a lead parsing address. So you point your lead providers towards this address and it will turn it into a contact in your top producer X. So follow the instructions here, sign into your lead provider, add the notification email address below to your lead provider, have questions, click here to learn more. If you click on this link at the top, it's going to show you a list of over 150 officially supported lead providers. Yeah. Just one sec here, guys. So yeah, any questions about lead providers, please feel free to reach out to us. Chances are we can get that to work with Top Producer. And if you have our 5 Street product for lead aggregation, automated lead responses, team management, team lead management, things like that, you'll want to forward that to your 5street.me address instead and let 5 Street take care of that. And 5 Street will send that to your Top Producer afterwards. So moving down next to Market Snapshot. This is for our Market Snapshot subscribers or Top Producer Pro bundle users. So this is where you can control these settings for your Market Snapshot report. So for anyone that's not sure what Market Snapshot is, it's a great add-on to Top Producer X. It's part of our Pro bundle. It allows you to send out custom market reports to any contact in your database. So new leads, new buyer leads, maybe you want to send them a report to browse properties and then get in touch with you, send them a Market Snapshot. Or maybe past clients, you want to keep them up to date with their home's value, with what their neighbors' houses are selling for, what's going on in their neighborhood. You can send them a Market Snapshot, and anyone in between those or anywhere else in your pipeline can definitely benefit from a Market Snapshot as well, because you can customize the criteria. They can customize the criteria somewhat. They can filter it. It's just a great way to stay top of mind and provide something of value at the same time, because it's sort of like a drip campaign, but it's 100% real estate, information focus. So it has your branding attached to it everywhere, which is that information that we were customizing in the My Information page earlier. So if you're brand new to Market Snapshot, I do really recommend just leaving this all on for now. Honestly, the way it with everything checked off, not going to do any harm. As you learn more about Market Snapshot, maybe you want to customize it. This is where you can do so. And then just make sure you save your settings. And there's a view sample button here, which you can use anytime to see a mock-up of what your Market Snapshot would look like. And this is really useful if you are, if you just change your settings, maybe you've added in your social media links, you've changed the color scheme, feel free to click view sample, and that's going to let you really quickly see what that looks like. And for anyone that's not sure what a Market Snapshot looks like, let me just show you one really quick here. So this is a Market Snapshot report. As you can see, it's a big graphical report. It's got my picture, it's got my phone number, it's got my email address and company logo. And yeah, lots of information here. Days on market, average asking price, lots of properties browse through based off the criteria. You can click on the map here. You can change it to a completely different view. You can zoom in. Maybe I'm a buyer lead looking at properties. Maybe I don't care about these sold ones. Maybe I don't care about these expireds. I want to narrow it down. As you can see, it was as easy as that, just to click these buttons up here and hide those statuses. Maybe I'm kind of interested in this one by the water here. I can click on it. It's going to highlight it on the right side. I can click on it to then find out more. This is going to show me as the recipient all the pictures on the MLS, all the property data, details, schools nearby, neighborhood amenities, and there's a couple things you can do with it from here. You can like the listing, and that's going to notify the agent, that someone has liked this listing, and that's a great conversation starter, obviously. Or they can send you a direct inquiry about this listing, which is of course going to notify you, and you can start working with them from there. So that's Market Snapshot in a nutshell. If you want to know more about Market Snapshot and you don't have it, please feel free to reach out to us in the chat. Marvin and I can get you in touch with someone on our team to talk more about Market Snapshot and even go through a demo. And if you have Market Snapshot, but you would like some help with it, please contact our customer care team or reach out in the chat. We can also get someone in touch with you to help you with that. So little detour there, back to Top Producer X, heading back to the settings now, going to MLS credentials. So as a realtor, likely all of you are part of an MLS board for real estate data in your area. You're going to want to get that connected to your top producer CRM so that you can pull in that data and use it for property insights, for transactions, and other things. And of course, if you're a market snapshot user, you will need to do this to make that work. So usually this is pretty easy. Just click on Add MLS Credentials. Search for your board here. Maybe you are with New Jersey. I'm going to type in New Jersey, and then see it pops up there. All you have to do is click on it. Enter your username and password, or just ID number in some cases. For example, let's say I search up Bright MLS. This just needs an ID number. So it just depends on the MLS. If you're not sure which credentials you should be using here, you can always reach out to customer care, and our customer care team can help identify that and get you underway there. So if you are a part of multiple MLSs, you can add them all here. As long as they're supported in Top Producer X, which most of them are, feel free to add them. That's going to give you access to all that data right within Top Producer X. And now one thing to mention, after adding MLS credentials, just a little tip, you will want to actually do a quick log out and log back into your CRM by clicking the top right corner profile button here, going to sign out, and then just simply signing right back in. And that just refreshes your CRM and makes sure that that data feed is active so you won't run into any issues. So yeah, like I said, that will let you use property insights, transactions, market snapshot. Property insights is all about the buyers. So you're tracking, you want to track, which properties your buyers have inquired on, which ones you've shown them, maybe write some notes, some details about what they thought about the property, things that you want to remember as well. Well, that's what property insights is all about, tracking that home buying journey all the way up till an offer being made, which is when you can create a transaction record and then track also with MLS data, the status, your commission, all the parties involved, task plans to stay on track, things like that. Yeah. So lots of value in that there. So moving on next, we're going to talk about task plans really quick. So task plans, a little bit more of an advanced feature. If you are just getting started with Top Producer, I do recommend maybe visiting this a little bit later, maybe a week or two into your Top Producer X experience, just because it does take some time to configure your task plans for use with contact, follow-up, transaction management. Very powerful, very customizable. Maybe you want a new lead follow-up plan to stay on top of your leads consistently every single time. You can go ahead and create that. Maybe you want a past client plan to make sure that you applied it to your past clients and keep in touch with them. You can do that. Maybe you need a buyer under contract checklist or just a transaction checklist. You can do that in here. There are some templates you can use by hitting Browse Templates. Then you click in the search box and you can get started with one of our templates here if you wish, or you can create it from scratch. So for more information on that, I do highly recommend reaching out to customer care for a one-on-one experience with those task plans, so we can really help you identify, what it is you're looking for, what it is you like to create, and then best advise you on how to do that and how to create that in Top Producer X. So yeah, thankfully it is pretty easy, but like I said, we're always here to help, just to guide you in how to best get started. And then yeah. So going down to team management. So this is for team accounts. This is for people with more than one Top Producer CRM license. And this is specifically for the team leader or broker that is in charge of that account. So team leaders, this is where you can go to manage your Top Producer X, your agents in Top Producer X. You can assign your licenses to different agents' names. You can create usernames for them. You can control which permissions they have, such as access data, delete or merge data, export data from Top Producer. So if you don't want your agents to see each other's contacts and transactions, you can uncheck this. But not to worry, you can actually manually assign them to transactions later on, so then that they can take part in those transactions, even if this is disabled right here. So you do have a lot of control over what your team can do and see. So last but not least, texting. So this is built-in texting feature. You can be assigned a virtual texting number that you can then send and receive text messages for. So you can't use your own phone number, and the reason for this is because it's just not okay legally to impersonate phone numbers. That is something that scammers, robocallers do. Happens to me all the time. I get calls from 778 numbers, which is a local code here, local phone code, and it turns out to be someone that, well, it just turns out to be not the person, because if you call that number back, it's some person that has no idea what's going on. So that's because their number was impersonated. We unfortunately can't do that because of legal issues. So next best thing is you do get a virtual texting number. You can treat this as your business number. You can advertise this. You can put this on your signature, website, business cards, etc. And because if someone calls you at this number, it's going to route it to your phone, so you won't miss calls. If someone texts you at this number, you'll get a notification saying you have a new message in Top Producer X. And so the advantage of this number is the ease of use. You get that new lead that pops into your CRM. Maybe you call them. Maybe you can't contact them at the moment. You leave them a voicemail. What's a great follow-up after that? Texting. So we're going to send off that text message through the CRM, have that documented right there. And that's 2 approaches done within, probably a matter of a minute. You jump into your emails after, do that 3-pronged approach, and you hit them with an email as well. And so that's kind of value. I think it's really good for new lead follow-up. You can use it, of course, for whatever you want, but I happen to think it's really good for new lead follow-up specifically. But that being said, guys, sorry, I will just be right back in one moment. Just give me about 15 seconds. All right, guys, thanks for that, or thanks for waiting. So as I was saying, texting, very, very useful for quick follow-up. If you need to explain it, I would just say it's my business number. It's not too hard to explain. It's not too far-fetched. A lot of agents do have virtual texting numbers, Google Voice numbers, things like that nowadays. So I would say take full advantage of it if you think it's applicable to you and your business. So guys, that is a quick run through of Top Producer X's settings. Of course, we can't customize the show to any one person, but hopefully that gives you some information about what each setting is for, how to customize it. And actually, you know what? Sorry, I always do this because it's the way that it's laid out in the settings. Calendar sync is above everything else, basically. So let me jump back in for one sec. And we're going to just quickly talk about the one setting that I forgot, which is calendar sync at the top here. So calendar sync is something that lets you set up a bi-directional synchronization with a third-party calendar program, such as Google Calendar, Office 365 Calendar, things like that, Apple Calendar. So one thing to note is that it will only synchronize appointments. So something with a time attached to it, something time sensitive, such as a call that you have to make at a specific time, a meeting at a specific time. So, which makes sense because this is a supplement. And what I mean by that is you want to be able to see your appointments on the go on your smartphone so that you don't miss them, of course, which is what this will let you do. So any appointments created in Top Producer will be synced to your integrated calendar, and any appointments created on your integrated calendar will be synced to Top Producer. And if you like, once they're in Top Producer, you can even link them up to the corresponding contact quite easily. But yeah, like I said, I consider this a supplement. On the go, you want to be aware of those appointments. For everything else, tasks, calls, to-dos that are in Top Producer, you will want to be logging in to your Top Producer X CRM pretty much every day and taking care of those in there, because this is a custom environment made for real estate follow-up, made for real estate database management. It has its own dedicated task feature that really allows you to easily blast through your tasks for the day, check your overdue tasks, see what's coming up the next few days. But don't scare yourself too much. If you have a busy next few days, you might just want to focus on your overdue and current tasks. And then your calendar view. So what I'm getting at is the Top Producer X is an environment that you should be doing your task management in, and let the calendar sync be a supplement to that just for your most time sensitive things. So just wanted to kind of clear that up. And that being said, calendar sync is a great feature. I use it myself. And yeah, same as email integration. Google is very easy. iCloud will need a app password. So there is instructions on Apple's support site on how to do that. And you can always contact our customer care team. We'll guide you through that as well. So with that out of the way, so that's pretty much all the settings for now. So next, we're going to talk about how to get your contact database into Top Producer X, whether it's a spreadsheet, whether it's contacts and an email service, or a combination of both. I'll show you a couple different ways how to get started with that. So yeah, like as I say here, you can import from spreadsheet or contact sync. Contact sync works with Google, Microsoft like Office 365 Outlook, and Apple iCloud. So there are a couple specifics, especially for iCloud. It does require an app password, and it does require to use your actual @icloud.com address, not an alias address. So I'll reiterate that later, but just wanted to point that out. So jumping back into Top Producer X, once again, we're in the settings in the bottom left, but now we're going to go to import contacts. So this is how you import from a spreadsheet file, the more sort of traditional way, if you will. So spreadsheet, a CSV file, if you're not sure what that is, it is, excuse me, I switched my view there. So settings, import contacts. So if you're not sure what a CSV file is, it's a very common cross-platform spreadsheet file. So it's kind of like an Excel spreadsheet, but just more simple, less formatting. It's something that you can open on pretty much any platform. It's basically a data spreadsheet file, something for use in a database. So lots of programs can export to CSV. Your MLS can likely export its contacts to CSV. Your old CRM, if you have one, can likely export to CSV. Top Producer exports to CSV. You get the picture. And even if you are starting off with an Excel spreadsheet, like a XLSX file or a numbers file from a Apple computer, you can actually save that as a CSV as well. And that's what you need to do to get started with this. So after you have that CSV file, a couple prerequisites I'd recommend checking for are, is the first and last name field separate in your spreadsheet? Because if so, that would be ideal. Yeah, is spouse information there? Is that separate as well? That would be ideal as well, because there are separate fields for that. So what we do here is we just click on Choose File to Import, browse our computer for the spreadsheet, and double click the file to open. So now we're on step 2. So there's contact status, contact types, and field mappings. So just to explain this first, contact status, and contact types are big parts of the CRM. So I want to give an explanation for our new users especially. Contact status is a representation of where a contact is in your sales pipeline. So new is for brand new leads that have just come to you, people that you want to reach out to as soon as possible, follow up with as fast as you can. And by the way, guys, if you are having an issue with too many leads to follow up with at once and you're not getting to them all, you may want to consider our 5-sheet product, which is for, like I said, real estate or lead aggregation, automated text and email follow-up. It sends off that first message, hooking those leads in 30 seconds or less. And it's also great for teams. That has a whole slew of other functionality for lead routing for teams. So if you want to learn more about 5-sheet and you're having issues handling all your online leads and you want more return on investment from them, 5-sheet is a great affordable option. So just reach out in the chat if you'd like to learn more about that. And actually, so we have a question in the chat here. I apologize, Josie, that I missed that a few minutes ago. So Josie's asking, if you already use 8i, will the settings be transferred automatically to TPX? So really good question, Josie. The answer is no. You will actually have to go in and set up TPX's settings separately because it is a completely different platform. That being said, a lot of data does transfer over in terms of your database. So when you log in, your contacts will be there, your tasks will be there, your calendar entries will be there, things like that. But the actual settings for the CRM need to be configured separately. So you'll want to go in and do that. And Josie, if you need any help at all, please feel free to either let me know or call our customer care team and they can help you one-on-one get started with that. Just let them know you're an existing 8i user and you'd like a little bit of assistance getting started with TPX, and we'd be more than happy to help you with that, Josie. And Josie, so yeah, just let me know if you need anything else. So back to the spreadsheet import. So yeah, like I said, new for brand new leads. Feel free to let us know if you're interested in 5-sheet for some help with those new leads. And then once you follow up with them at least once, you can switch them to engage to signify that you have followed up, but they're not yet qualified. So after that stage, you'll want to switch them to either future or active. So let's say they're not a super serious lead right now. They're more months or years out. You want to switch them to future, a long-term prospect, or maybe they're actively ready to go right now. You're going to be your client right now. Switch them to active. to signify that. And finally, closed is for closed transactions, past deals, past clients. But you can always switch those contacts back to other statuses if they present new opportunities, maybe repeat business down the road, referrals, things like that. You can switch them wherever you need them to be. So we have a question in the Q&A section here on Zoom. So I'm just going to answer this live. We've got a question from Robert Wigham, and Robert, thanks for joining in today. Robert's asking, are contacts added in TP8i always available in X? And Robert, the answer is yes. Your contacts in 8i 100% available in X. You can search for them the same way in the top search bar here. You'll be able to find them in the same contact status tab that they are in Top Producer 8i in the pipeline. Because this contacts page is kind of like your pipeline in Top Producer 8i. You can even check assign to look at different agents' pipelines, which is something we added recently. So this is great for teams, for a team lead that wants to check in on their agents' pipelines. So yeah, Robert, hopefully that helps you, sir. Just feel free to reach out if you need anything else. Good question. So moving back to the settings, import contacts, let's grab that CSV file again. So like I said, contact status, representation of where your contact is in your pipeline. So what you should do with this is think about the spreadsheet you're importing and what most of it is. Is it mostly a list of past clients? You'll likely want to select closed. Is it mostly your sphere of influence? You'll probably want to select future then, because technically they all could be future prospects. Maybe it's a list of new leads that you have not contacted yet. You want to import that as new, or maybe it's a list of all your current clients. You can import that as future. So just think about what the majority of your spreadsheet contains and set the correct status, because that's going to save you some time in terms of switching statuses. You can just move out the people from that status that don't belong there, the few that don't. And then next there's contact types, and this is a type of subcategory, so like a label or a folder. You can use this in a variety of ways. So a couple examples would be buyer, seller, past client, client, I believe this one, yeah, client. So these are ones that are all color coded, as you can see here, because these are standard ones that you'll be using all the time. And so if your sheet that you're importing is all buyers, feel free to take them as such. If they're all sellers, feel free to, or maybe a sphere of influence, for example. And you can even add your own. Maybe you want to say my old CRM import or something like that. It's going to ask you if you want to add that as a contact type. You just click add. It's now a contact type in your database. So we've got a question in the Q&A section here on Zoom from Josie. Josie, thanks again for joining in. And Josie's asking, if you add a new contact in X, will it be available in TP8i? Yeah, so absolutely. Let me just switch my view here. Let me put the Q&A section over here in the chat for a sec. So sorry, this is a little hard to position in my setup here, but here is the question from Josie. So yeah, like I said, absolutely yes. Whether you created if you created in TP8i, it shows up in X, or if you created in X, it shows up in TP8i seamlessly. So absolutely yes, Josie. Thanks for your question. So yeah, after you have set your contact status and your contact types correctly, what you will want to do next is work on the field mapping. So this is the most vital part. I highly, highly recommend taking your time with this step. Please do not rush through this. This is the most vital part. You'll want to make sure that the field mappings are mapped up from your spreadsheet as close as possible to what is available in Top Producer. So you might be wondering what I mean by that. Well, in your spreadsheet, you have different columns, right? So let me just grab an example here really quick. Just 1 second here. I'm just going to open an Excel spreadsheet for a second. So here is a good old Excel spreadsheet. And as we can see here, there are different columns. First name, last name, email address, business phone, and company, etc. Right? Whatever your spreadsheet might say, they're all different depending on where they come from. So then what you're going to want to do is actually match this up. So this is what the column is called in my spreadsheet. Thankfully, there's a first name field with the exact same name in Top Producer. So you want to go through here. This on the left side shows you what is in your spreadsheet, and it shows you up to 4 samples from the first 4 rows. So see this one says no data, that means there's absolutely no data at all. But if you see a blank one where it's just blank, that means there probably is data there later on. It just maybe the first 4 entries don't have any data there. So you'll likely want to reference your spreadsheet and scroll down until you see, oh, someone actually does have that. I'll likely want to map that properly. So go through here, map up everything. So email address, maybe your spreadsheet says email 1, email 2, email 3. You want to go email address, other email, and other emails respectively. Maybe there's spouse, first name, spouse, last name. You'll want to map that up to secondary first name and secondary last name. Maybe you have phone 1, phone 2, phone 3. You'll probably want to map that up to mobile phone. And then like probably home phone and business phone or something like that. So you will have to kind of use your discretion a bit and figure out what the fields and columns mean in your spreadsheet and where to best map them in Top Producer. And now there's a couple special ones. There's contact type. So we've already talked about contact type. Maybe your spreadsheet already has something that you can use as contact type. Maybe it's called tags or label or type in your old CRM or something like that. So maybe you already have your contacts tagged as buyer, seller, past client, etc. You can actually bring that in directly per contact. So if you have a field for that, map it up to contact type. And you can even bring in more than one contact type at once if they're separated by, I believe it's commas or semicolons. Either should allow. I actually thought it was only commas. I learned recently that semicolons apparently work as well. If you have a note section in your spreadsheet for each contact, feel free to add that, to link that up with add to contact notes. And just keep in mind, if there's a field that you don't want to map or that simply just doesn't have any corresponding mappable field in Top Producer, you can leave it not mapped like this. And if it's red, that's okay. You can not map something if you need to. But that being said, I do highly recommend actually reaching out to customer care, either by phone or the live chat, and asking questions about this as you go so that you can really make the most of your import. We can definitely assist you with that. We would love if your first import went as best that it could so that you didn't have to go through the frustration of trying to fix it later on and that you could jump into using your CRM right away. So that being said, after you have gone through this, reviewed this 2 or 3 times, and guys, even if this takes you 15, 20, 30 minutes to look over and verify, I promise you it's 100% worth it. This is your business we're talking about. This is serious, right? We want to make sure that your contacts get in there with as much data as possible and have that mapped up properly. So just please take your time and always reach out if you need our help. That being said, if you're done that and you think everything is good to go, feel free to click Import Contacts. That will bring you back to the Import Contact screen. It'll say status in progress. It'll say 0 until it's done. So just check status once in a while by clicking this button. Once it's fully done, it'll say complete and it'll show you the total count. And then you can go up to the contacts page in the top left corner. And then let's say you import it into future, for example, click on the future tab and your contact should be here. And I recommend clicking on at least 1 or 2 or 3, seeing what their record looks like, making sure that that information got mapped up properly, phone, email address, etc. And you think, hey, you know what? That looks perfect. That address came in, phone number came in, and then you can start cleaning up your database. And so, which I'll show you soon with Evolve Coach. But very quickly, we're going to jump back to settings, talk about contact sync next. So contact sync is the other way to bring contacts into Top Producer X, as I mentioned earlier. Whether you have contacts in your Google account, your iCloud account, Office 365, etc., you can link that up, pull in all of your contacts, and really get off to a good start with your database. Now, please note, like I said, it will bring in all contacts, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because you could actually, if you want, choose to mass update those contacts, move them all to a status where they're off to the side, such as inactive or non-client, and then you can pick and choose those contacts by doing a search as you go, or you can just leave them all in future, which is their default spot when they come in via contact sync, because technically you could consider them all as part of your sphere of influence, I suppose. So you can walk through the steps here, just the same as email integration. And once again, Apple iCloud, please note you need your actual iCloud.com address. You will need to log into iCloud and create an app password for usage with Top Producer. So you use not your standard iCloud password here. You have to use the one-time use app password. Once again, Apple has a great article on their support page showing you step-by-step how to do this. And you can also contact our customer care team, and we can help you with this process to make sure that you get that integrated. For Google, it's very simple. Just a couple steps. You should have it integrated in a matter of seconds. Same with most Office 365 accounts, things like that. So once that's set up, it will keep your Top Producer X up to date. So if you change a contact information for someone in your linked like Google account or whatever, it'll actually push that to Top Producer. And if you edit it in Top Producer, vice versa, it'll push it back. Now, please note, if there are contacts that originate in your Top Producer CRM, meaning they don't come from your email service, they won't sync automatically. You have to manually add those ones to sync. So for example, if I go to Future and I want to add Peggy to sync, well, actually, I don't have contact sync set up right now. I do apologize. Otherwise, I would show you that. You know what? Let me just do it here really quick. I'll show you what this looks like with Google. So I just click on my account. And so that is definitely not supposed to happen. I do not know why, because we are definitely verified with Google. So I'll have to look at that. That might be something specific to my own account right now. That's a little confusing. But normally you can follow those steps and be integrated, and then it'll be running and you can add contacts to sync. Yeah. So any contacts you add in, you're like, let's say you're an Android phone user and you have your contacts linked to your Google account. Every time you add someone in your Android phone, they'll be pushed to your Google and then pushed to Top Producer X. Maybe you're an iPhone user and it's syncing to your iCloud. Every time you add someone in your iPhone, it'll sync to your iCloud, and iCloud will sync to TPX. So very, very straightforward, very easy to use. So guys, now that we've talked about a couple different ways to get your database started in TPX, let's jump into the follow-up coach really quick and finish things off by showing you one of the biggest, best tools in Top Producer X to work your database. Maybe you've taken care of your callouts for the day, your to-dos, and maybe you have a little bit of extra time. Or what I recommend is even putting aside half an hour every day for the follow-up coach. I think you'll be very surprised at how productive it can help you be in your database. So let me just show you what this looks like. So we are in Top Producer X, and all we have to do is click on the follow-up coach tab along the top here. And actually, just before we get, I do have a question here in the chat from Robert. Robert's asking, so I can link my Android, or sorry, not in the chat, the Q&A section, which I have off to the side here. Robert's saying, so I can link my Android contacts to X, and yeah. And Robert, like I said, you do this by means of using your Google account as a middleman. So your Android phone would have to be synchronizing with your Google account. So you'll want to go into your Android phone and check your account settings and make sure that your contacts are synchronizing to your Google account. If you're not sure how to do that, I would recommend looking it up online, google.com, and doing a search online. And Google has articles for that kind of thing as well. You can always contact Google's support team and they can help you with that as well. So once your contacts are syncing with your Gmail account, you can go to contacts.google.com just to verify that your contacts are indeed being backed up there. And once you verify that, feel free to integrate that Gmail account with the contact sync in Top Producer X. So like I said, Robert, it will be pushing it from your Android phone to your Google account, then Google will be pushing it to Top Producer X, if that makes sense. Yeah, and so Robert's saying, thanks, not a problem. And Robert, if you're just not sure at all, you can, of course, reach out to customer care. We can point you in the right direction. Sometimes it definitely is easier to have that one-on-one phone call with our support team, and we can help you with the next steps there as well. So jumping into the follow-up coach. So we see along the top of the contacts page here, top left corner contacts, new, engaged, future, active, closed, follow-up coach. So you might be wondering what this is. And like I said, I consider it a great portal into productivity in your database. It's going to help you make sure no one falls through the cracks. It's going to help you get started by cleaning up your database. And then going forward, it's going to help you make sure that, like I said, you just stay on top of everyone after that. So think of it as your cleanup tool and your follow-up tool all in one. So as an example for a new user, something you might experience is here's Kevin Fenzi. So it says Kevin is a future contact. It says schedule a follow-up to ensure imported contacts don't fall through the cracks. So what it's basically saying is Kevin is in future. It doesn't really know if Kevin belongs there. Kevin was just part of a spreadsheet import. So he might have just been bundled in with a bunch of other contacts coming into future. So it's saying it wants you to tell the CRM who Kevin is so that it can then actually help you. So let's do all this at once. Let's click on this tile here to open Kevin's record. It's going to elaborate on its suggestion by saying update their pipeline status, contact type, and who they should be assigned to. So let's do all that at once. Let's go down to edit contact at the bottom. Let's scroll down. So we see contact status and contact types. And let's just say in this case, we realize, hey, Kevin is actually not a future contact. He's one of our past clients. So let's take a moment to update his record. Let's go to closed, completed transaction. Let's click in contact types and search for past client. And maybe we want to tag him a little bit more. Let's say maybe he was a past buyer. Maybe he was a referral. And whatever else we wanted to tag him as well. And like I said, you can add your own as much as you want. Please don't hesitate to add your contact types. I recommend liberal use of contact types for, tagging your contacts, staying organized, and you can even make your own custom tabs to click on to access specific contact lists by type. So it's very, very useful. So after you've updated status types, those are the main things. Scroll down and click on Save Contact. And so it's going to still be hanging out there saying update their pipeline status. So this is because if we click Mark Done, it's going to ask us how we reached out. So the follow-up coach will not stop with this suggestion until you either skip it, mark it as done, or if I close the record, it'll actually automatically consider it done because we actually changed the status to close, which counts as a touch. But, excuse me, while you're in here, it gives you the opportunity to manually wrap this up. So let's say in this instance, we thought, hey, we've updated Kevin's record. We've tagged him with a status and contact type, but maybe it's just been a while since we've spoken with him anyway. Maybe we want to take this opportunity to call him. So maybe we pick up the phone and we give Kevin a call and we say, hey, Kevin, it's been a while since we touched base. Hope everything's going well with the house, how's the family, how's the kids, etc. And yeah, maybe we should get together and chat sometime soon. And things like that. And then, so what you can do is you can mark that as done. And you can say, we called Kevin. Touch base with Kevin. Been a while since we spoke after closing. And then maybe we want to say Kevin mentioned that he really appreciated my services when I helped him buy his home recently. And he actually might have some referrals for me. That he wants to talk about next week. So I could say, Kevin mentioned possible referrals. We'll talk again next week. And then I could just save this wrap up, but why not schedule that follow up right now? So maybe I'm going to click call, follow up regarding potential referrals. Let's set the date on the calendar, maybe to Monday next week. And that's going to set a reminder in his record, on my calendar, in my task list. Everywhere I go, I'm going to be able to see this so that I remember to call Kevin and follow up on this. So just an example of how the follow-up coach can lead you down these paths of great productivity and natural workflows, where we just started off by being reminded that we needed to update his record, and it led us to doing all this. We were productive in our database, and we were productive with him as a past client. So I think that's a pretty good way. See, it's added the notes there and everything, so I always know what we last did. So guys, that was just a quick example of how the follow-up coach can help you day to day. It can help you with past clients. It can help you with new leads, sphere of influence, etc. Even if you are a market snapshot user and you send a snapshot off to someone, but they haven't opened it in their email, it'll actually point that out and let you know so that you can follow up with them. You can send off a text, maybe send off your own personal follow-up email via the built-in email integration. That way you can see if they've opened that. Or maybe you want to call them and just let them know. And so lots of different situations. Follow-up coach has you covered. Maybe you're focusing day to day on your most important contacts, your best leads, your current clients, your past clients, things like that, as you should. But the follow-up coach is always waiting for you if you want to be extra productive in your database and you need a little help to stay on top of that. So what I say is a challenge to all new users is, after you finish with your task for the day, after you've done your call outs, things that you have planned, feel free to jump into the follow-up coach, see what else it has to offer for you, and try to spend about half an hour in there, get through those 5 contacts at least, and Please note, you can actually use the follow-up coach for more than 5 contacts, but its core concept is at least those 5 a day. And if you did that Monday to Friday, 5 days a week, 25 contacts followed up with and reorganized in your database, in addition to what you already have on your plate, I would say that's pretty respectable amount of contacts and a pretty respectable amount of productivity there. So guys, that is all we have. We're just going to jump into a couple last things here. So just want to point you in the direction of what you can do next to learn more. So we do have a great support page with more webinar content, quick start videos for Top Producer X that Marvin has been linking to, walkthroughs, articles, how-tos, social media links, lots of things. So the quickest way to get here from your Top Producer X is just click on the top right corner profile picture and then click on support site. And as Marvin is just putting in the chat just now, you can also get there by navigating to topproducer.com/campus or TP, like TP as in top producer, tpcampus.com. So once you're on the support page, what I highly recommend for you all next, especially if you're brand new, is go to video library. This will show you the whole video playlist for Top Producer X quick start videos that Marvin has been linking to today. So everything from importing contacts, customizing your sales pipeline with custom tabs using contact types, setting up and using texting, setting up and using email integration, using the follow-up coach, using property insight. You get the picture. We've got a lot of great stuff covered here in videos you can watch over and over and reference, and they're very quick and concise. They're only about 2.5 to 4 minutes long in most cases. So please take full advantage of these. If you go up to the webinar schedule as well on the top menu bar here, this is where you can see all the other coaching shows that we do and all the other shows we do in general. So right now you are watching this one, Getting Started with Top Producer X. If you would like to join in on Database Cleanup and Organization 101 tomorrow, that is live on Zoom webinars as well and on Facebook. So that's being done by Keith Hawken, our Senior Director of Sales Marketing. Be happy to walk you through that. Then on Thursday, I'm doing 4 things you'll want to know after you set up TPX. So I would love to see you guys there as well. That's a great follow-up show to watch after you've spent the time with me today right now. And you maybe tomorrow you spend some time referencing videos, playing around in your CRM, putting it to use. Thursday show would be a great follow-up to learn more. And then on Friday, we have Simplify Lead Management and follow-up response with 5Street. So I mentioned 5Street later, great for those auto lead responses in 30 seconds or less, text message, email, and for teams, team leaders, great to manage their leads and send them to specific agents based off different roles. So my colleague Dan will be manning that show on Zoom and YouTube. Yeah, and please note you can actually go back and view any of the past recordings for shows just by clicking on them here. And the link to YouTube or Facebook will be available right here for you. So guys, and sorry, one last reminder, if you want to reach out to customer care, as I said at the beginning, you can contact us anytime. Oh, excuse me, my screen went crazy there. You can contact us anytime by live chat in the bottom right of your CRM or any Top Producer product. You can call us at 1-800-830-8300. Monday to Friday, 7:30 a.m. till 4 p.m. in Pacific Standard Time, or 10:30 a.m. till 7 p.m. for our Eastern Standard Time folks. I know there's a lot. Yeah, you can also email us at support@topproducer.com as well. So guys, just want to take a moment and thank everyone once again for joining in today. Hopefully this gives you some information to get started with Top Producer X, whether you're brand new or an 8i user making the switch. Great to have you here. Lots of exciting things to come in TPX. There was an update just a few days ago. There was an update coming 2 days from now, as far as I know, including custom email templates. So really, really exciting, powerful stuff coming up very soon. It's a good time to be a Top Producer subscriber. And yeah, guys, all you have to do, reference resources, give us a call if you need anything. Make sure you are logging into your CRM every day. And if you need some help integrating the CRM with your day-to-day business life, you can also access the Top Producer mobile site. I'll have Marvin link you to that, m.tpcrm.com, in the comment section there. And that's a great way to also make sure that you can use it on the go. And that information will be available when you log in on your desktop. So guys, like I said, make the most use of your CRM. It's your turn to do your due diligence. Make sure you actually put it to use, because one sale made with the help of the CRM will pay for itself for years, basically. And think of it that way. And yeah, it's just a huge boon to your business. You just need to put in the time and actually use that day to day now. And your top producer will give back to you tenfold. So guys, once again, this has been Spencer with Top Producers Customer Success Team, joined by Marvin in the live chat on our research team. Great to have you guys here. Welcome to Top Producer if you're brand new. And we would love to see you on Thursday or any other show. So until then, take care. See you next time, guys.